So once I've cut all my square ground cutters the same length, I want to come through and cut all my depth gauges at about 25 thousandths. So first thing I'll do is I'll zero out my machine so it's flat and level, and I'll remove my 1/8 inch aluminum oxide wheel and I'll replace it with I believe that's a 1/4 inch aluminum oxide. And these generally come with your organ grinders. There's also an instruction manual that shows this process if you want to check it out. There's some more specifics in there. This is how I do it. I'll set my wheel up at an angle and then I'll dress it, and that will give me a little bit wider of a space to come into contact with my depth gauge. So I'll center the depth gauge in the center of the wheel, and then I'll bring my tooth stop all the way to the back of the cutter. That'll give me a good reference point so I can just come through quickly and touch up all my depth gauges. So one thing to notice on this grinder, there's a little bit of squish. I think they have some rubber in the wheel stop. Some other grinders may just have a metal one and it just stops very abruptly. And so with that, if you have one that is just solid, you can come right down to the tooth and do it that way. This one I kind of like because it has that squish and you can kind of put an even amount of pressure, so you can come up just above where you want to be and then put an even amount of pressure on all of your cutters. Because I like to have that tapping motion, and sometimes it's nice to just be able to tap and remove material. But anyway, so I want to set my depth gauges to 25 thousandths. So normally what we do is we take a file and file right on top of this gauge. And I don't like that method so much because it puts a lot of pressure on your cutters, all these cutters that you've spent a lot of time making perfect. With this method, I like to look and visually see right at the top of that piece of sheet metal there that this gauge is made out of. Right at the top is going to be 25 thousandths. And so I'll just visually look and come in and I'll check intermittently just to make sure that it's set right there. Another thing that I like to think about is that sheet metal is about 40 thousandths or 45 thousandths in thickness. So if I come below, if I cut the depth gauge a little bit below where the top of that sheet metal is, then I know I'm approaching 30 thousandths. Just something to be aware of. If you're cutting down halfway in there, you're cutting a lot of material and you're probably close to 40 thousandths. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check us out at squarejig.com, and feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos.